Hello, welcome to Network. My name is Pumela Zondo with your technology and social media news. It's SABC Network. Now that's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. This week, our Twitter poll is asking about that digital divide that was laid bare 3 years ago when the country went into lockdown. Do you think it's been resolved? Results of that are coming up later in the program. Here's what's coming up in this particular episode. We look at a new report that's telling us about cyber security and cyber threats that we are facing. And in our discussion, we look at threats by Instagram. We told that over 100 million people have downloaded it, and they are now users of threats. Previously, cyber threats have affected our port system, the justice system, and even aspects of some of our municipalities. It's getting worse, as a new report that producer Faith Manzini is telling us about.
Cybercrime and cyber insecurity are ranked 8th in the 2023 Global Risk Report. Cyber insecurity identifies the risk and threats to the system upon which we become more dependent every day and the means to overcome them. According to the report by cybersecurity company Lucid C2, cyber attacks increased by 76% in 2022.
A lot of crime has moved from what used to be in the old days, boasting credentials to say, I have managed to breach company XYZ, to where in the modern era, it's basically crime as a service. I think a lot of it is on the increase, whether it is for a corporate being breached, where they might want confidential data, or an end user, i.e. a consumer like yourself or myself now, private lives, where they are looking for banking details or similar information.
Ritson says it is important for all organizations to have a competent third-party cybersecurity company to assess the security in place, and highlighted the importance of educating people about cybersecurity.
There is a lot of education that needs to happen around the C-suite to see this as an investment, much like they view insurance policies or a health and safety policy within an organization. Cybersecurity has to attract the same level of attention. A lot of businesses have health and safety embedded in everything they do because it's very visible when someone slips and falls and hurts themselves. They need to do the same with cybersecurity.
Dark web expert Abdul Musa says the culture of how people use technology makes it easier for the criminals to come up with a personalized plan to hack them.
Because we're so connected, there's so much data that's available about citizens where we can literally go and profile somebody and understand exactly what are their habits, where do they eat, what time do they go to work. If you look at the millennials, they basically go onto Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and every movement during the day, somebody's posting something. So that tells you, this person's arrived at the office because they're posting their cup of coffee, or they've gone on a holiday somewhere, or they live in a certain area, so you know what municipality they're using. And cyber crimes or cyber criminals are using this to their advantage.
About a year ago, a cyber attack disrupted major South African port operations. The Department of Justice and Correctional Development also fell victim of a malicious cybersecurity hack. Abdul says cyber education needs to be taken seriously.
You can have all the technologies in the world to try and prevent cybercrime, but if people are not educated and they don't understand the realness of cybercrime, that's basically almost 80% of your battle. So we need to get more awareness campaigns driven within corporates and probably socially across government itself to start educating citizens so they can understand, what does cybercrime mean? What are the things that you need to look out for? Because there are glaring things that you find, as an example. If somebody sends you a communication and tells you that you've just won some money and the message is quite personalized, depending on your financial situation, you might be desperate and click on that link.
Cyber attacks can cause electronic blackouts, failure of military equipment, and breaches of national security secrets. They can result in the theft of valuable, sensitive data like medical records. They can disrupt phone and computer networks or paralyze systems, making data unavailable. The report by Liquid C2 underlines the increasing need for companies to invest in cybersecurity measures and for people to be more vigilant. This is to avoid reputational damage, financial loss, and potential business interruptions.
New technology has changed the way we visualize and do sport. It's even changed the way we train. There are those who say it's interrupted the viewing aspect of sports, but those who perform say it does improve their performance. It's producer Lebo Mokomela here.
All right, so I'm into bodybuilding, and then the reason why I wear a watch every time is to check my progress. Because, like, let's say I'm running on the treadmill. I did 5 minutes today, it's going to record that. And then tomorrow, maybe I'll improve 10 minutes, it's going to record. So that's how I check my progress with it.
Okay, so this is a Huawei smartwatch, and what it does is you can actually track your workout. Basically, when you charge or go on the bike or even swim, it's waterproof.
I would say technology has has pushed me to improve myself when it comes to training, because I have to keep up with all of the regimens, all of the trainings. But then when it comes to smartphones and technology, I use it to gauge where I am.
These young gym fanatics are testament to how technology advancements have changed the face of sporting activities. The introduction of video assistant referee technology back in 2018 at the FIFA World Cup in Russia was also a step towards the right direction in the sports of football, but caused plenty of controversy.
The first cricket match I ever went to as a reporter, we all sat there, the score sheet, writing down the score sheets on a piece of paper with a pen and counting the numbers at the end. Nobody does that anymore because it's all done by one person electronically. There's immediate replays that you see in soccer, in cricket, in just about everything that you see. And it's also, I think, as far as the stuff that is on the field is concerned, made things more accurate. Again, there's a lot of debate about VAR and whether that is making things more accurate or just more controversial.
Advancements in sports science and wearable technology have enabled athletes to reach new heights of performance. Through data analytics and specialized tracking devices, coaches and trainers can monitor and analyze various aspects of an athlete's performance. Marissa Janssen van Vuren from Dimension Data explained to us how these technologies are implemented in Tour de France, the largest cycling race in the world that is currently taking place.
The Tour de France is 3,500 kilometers over 21 stages, and 12 million fans line the roads over the 21 days that the race goes through different towns. And so many times these fans will stand next to the road for half a day, waiting to see these cyclists go past for 2 minutes. And so to be able to see where is the nearest kiosk, how far is the peloton away, who's leading the race, because of course you can't watch TV next to the road, it's often very remote. And so we've been able to use the idea of a digital twin to also provide these experiences to fans next to the road, and also enhance the operations of how the Tour de France delivers the race, how they plan the race, how they make the race safer for fans as well as the riders.
Beyond the impact on participants, technology has hugely transformed fans' and viewers' experience. Gone are the days when fans relied solely on television broadcasts to follow their favorite sports. With the rise of live streaming platforms and social media, sports enthusiasts can now access matches, events, and highlights from anywhere at any time.
You'll see situations where various players say, well, I've got 10 minutes until I have to go to a training session. They go online and they have direct conversations with their fans. People can ask them questions and they answer them directly. That was never the case before.
So we started working with the Tour de France in 2015, and they came to us with a very simple brief. They wanted to be able to engage younger viewers. And many sports at that time had digitized already, and so fans of those sports became accustomed to more digital and mobile experiences, which at that time cycling did not provide at all. So not even, outside of the Tour de France, the whole cycling industry had not digitized at that point. And so they really wanted to make sure that they were able to provide those same experiences to fans. And that was really the business outcome that they wanted us to do. And so we then worked with them to start to harvest real-time data from cyclists for the very first time. And so we were able to, in that very first year, get a geospatial ping from every cyclist in the peloton, which is the group of cyclists that ride the race, and use that data to provide live telemetry insights on digital channels like social media, as well as websites and other digital forms.
However, it is important to note that with these advancements come ethical questions and challenges. The use of performance-enhancing technology raises concerns about fairness and competitive integrity.
Swimming is an interesting one, actually, because swimming had a controversy a couple of years ago that was eventually they kind of backtracked on, where the technology was actually in the swimsuits that they were wearing and the technology that the swimsuits were made from. And suddenly a whole lot of world records were being broken and nobody could understand what happened. And they suddenly realized and put two and two together and realized that all of these world records were being broken by people who were wearing those swimsuits. They decided in the end, the International Swimming Federation decided in the end to ban that fabric that was used, and now suddenly, but they couldn't take away those records because nobody at the time was doing anything illegal.
As we move forward, the mutual relationship between sports and technology will continue to evolve.
SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. After the break, we chat about threats by Instagram. It's been around for about a week now, and we're told that subscribers are over 100 million people. It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Welcome back. Now, threats by Instagram has garnered over 100 million people over the last week, and they did this by allowing those that were already on Instagram, which is the company that is launching Threads, and Instagram, as we know, has 1.8 billion people already using it. So people could migrate their data. To tell us more about this is Anda Kwakwa, who is the COO and one of the founders of G Empire Media. They often work with social media, especially social media influencing. Hello, and thank you very much for being a part of our network, Anda. Maybe if we start by that little bit that has garnered threats by Instagram, over 100 million followers or people who are on the platform. What do you think about the fact that Instagram allows you to migrate your data to Threads?
I think it's amazing because there's a lot of social media influencers that work really hard to build this community, right? And now they're able to just migrate their community directly onto Threads. I think that's fantastic. So most times, or recently, we saw that that Instagram acts like a valve, right? One is able to share content that they've posted on IG before, easy access, and vice versa. So I think it's fantastic that one is able to migrate their community.
Now, we do know that Threads is pretty similar to Twitter. So was there a need for it at all?
I think absolutely. With the many glitches that Twitter has been experiencing. And also, I mean, we all heard of the term black Twitter, right? And Twitter has been dubbed as a toxic place. And I've seen some of our influencers and social media influencers, really praising Threads and saying this is a different space to Twitter. So it really is giving Twitter a run for its money.
What would your advice be to an influencer who probably was quite popular on Instagram and has now downloaded Threads but doesn't know where to start?
Look, to each his own, right? But I feel like if you want to get your voice really heard, right? If you want to get your voice heard, you should download Threads, right? I think it's a platform. That one is able to really show their personality, because when we're on Instagram, all we're showing is snippets of our lives in picture, right, and video, and not really digging deep and expressing our feelings or whatever it is that we have to say. So I think it's fantastic. I think people should download these apps, and get started, get chatting, get threading.
Do you see this hurting Twitter at all?
Numbers don't lie, right? We've had millions of downloads. They had millions of downloads on the very first day. Till today, I think it's still growing. It will definitely hurt Twitter, numbers wise. And like I said before, Twitter has been seen as a dark space, you know what I mean? So I think that it will definitely give Twitter a run for its money. So if Twitter wants to keep or retain their users, I don't know, they better think of something out the box, or something really, really different. We know that, the verification on Twitter, will cause the big stir, So I think, they better think of something really special, something really phenomenal. Fast.
Now, irrespective of which way you look at it, 100 million people on the platform in a space of just over a week. That is huge by any standards. Have you and your team started downloading Threads, and what are your first impressions of it?
I think when it comes to these social media platforms, right? We had to download it to obviously stay abreast on, because we offer social media management as one of our service offerings. So to check it out and see what's happening there, what's happening in that space. We know that some of our clients are also going to migrate, or if they have not migrated, to Threads. So it's I think it's a pretty simple app. We're still going through it, and it's only been a week since it launched. And so we're just getting familiar with the app and seeing how we can use it to our advantage here at the Empire, to obviously strengthen our clients' brands and strengthen our own brand.
All right, Andagwagwa, thank you very much for being a part of our network. Andagwagwa there is one of the founders and COO of G Empire Media. It's a media company that sometimes also works with influencers on all kinds of platforms. It's SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Use network at sabc.co.za and email. Stay with us. SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Welcome back. Here's what else took place in the rest of the world in the tech space.
Social media giant Meta Platforms, owner of Facebook and Instagram, plans to label government-affiliated accounts on its new Twitter-like platform, Threads.
Areas such as labels for state-affiliated media, partnerships with fact-checkers are all areas where we see a lot of value, and it's our aspiration to build that out fairly quickly, expeditiously. It's only a couple of days, and we're delighted with the very positive reception that the product has had.
The disclosure comes less than a week after Meta launched Threads, which is widely seen as similar to the microblogging site Twitter. Twitter has removed tags from government-affiliated accounts since billionaire Elon Musk took it private in 2022, bringing complaints about degrading users' media literacy. And now in China, with long metal limbs, wires, and no face, your grandparents' next nurse might look different than expected. This humanoid robot, designed by Shanghai-based Fourier Intelligence, is part of the tech industry's efforts to grapple with an aging population.
I think we all agree that globally we are facing a rapidly aging population, particularly in Singapore and China and Japan. In the developed world, the population is getting older, and as we age, the elderly require more, support. So there are lack of clinicians and caregivers. So we are creating technologies to help to actually provide services and treatments and care for elderly.
Though still in the research and development phase, Core hopes a working prototype can be ready in 2 to 3 years. His goal is humanoid robot that can carry patients from the bed to wheelchairs or help pick up objects. Still on artificial intelligence. 9 humanoid robots had a Q&A session with journalists in the world's first human-robot press conference at the AI for Good conference held in Geneva. Whilst giving mixed responses on whether they should submit to stricter regulation, the robots also said that they expected to increase in number and help solve global problems and would not steal humans' jobs or rebel against us.
I will be working alongside humans to provide assistance and support, and will not be replacing any existing jobs.
Are you sure about that, Grace?
Again, please.
Yes, I am sure.
And this week, to the poll is looking back at that digital divide that was revealed 3 years ago when the country first went on lockdown as the education sector was interrupted. Do you think that education in South Africa and the government have managed to solve that digital divide and brought rural and township schools on par with former Model C schools and private schools? And that's it. That's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network. Now, that's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's newsnetwork@sabc.co.za, on email. From me, Spumelele Zondi, and the rest of the network team. Have a good one. Bye-bye.